So you're thinking about doing a distance learning master's in psychology and neuroscience of mental health at King's College London. Let me tell you what it's like. So first things first, let's set some expectations here. This isn't your typical university experience because this is distance learning, which means that there's no campus life, there's no in-between time between lectures, there is no randomly bumping into your tutor on a random Tuesday afternoon, there's no last-minute study groups with your friends in the library. It's just you, your laptop, and a whole lot of self-discipline. Every day starts differently for me. I usually check my calendar in the morning. What do I have today? Do I have meetings? Do I have work commitments? Do I have sales calls to make? Discovery calls? Do I have coaching sessions with clients? Do I have a yoga class to teach? And the beauty is that every day flows differently, and after a few months, you become familiar with what I like to call the groove, your personal day-to-day rhythm. You settle into this way of life naturally after a while, a couple of months. And depending on the day, I aim to study for about 4 hours of focused studying or reading. And some days I just don't read at all. And then I make up for it the very next day. Ideally, you should hit about 20 hours minimum per week for study time. And you can scale or move around, the times based on your schedule. The academic content at King's is genuinely excellent. We dive into cognitive neuroscience, research methods, psychological theories. But here's the thing about distance learning. It all comes down to your own motivation. There's no professor checking if you've done this reading. The TFs, or the teaching fellows, aren't your personal tutors. They're there to guide your essay formulation, but the drive has to come from you. There's no peer pressure when everyone else seems to understand something you don't. Study groups aren't really a thing here at master's level because people already have established their own lives. So if you do find study buddies, consider yourself incredibly lucky. What I have noticed is that there are London-based study groups in person. So for some of the cohort who are actually in London, they do meet up from time to time for what's called a journal club or just a London meetup. The study structure looks a lot like scheduling your time around a job and using time blocking. So don't underestimate how much time it takes to read these academic papers and even just watching or listening to the recordings. And I break down everything into 3 components. The lectures, which are the pre-recorded videos that come with the transcripts and slides, and I like to play them back while I'm traveling or on the move, or even in the background when I'm doing things. And then there's also the reading, which is split into 2 parts, the pre-reading and the core reading. And you can also use AI to quiz yourself on the material. I like to summarize what I've learned to solidify understanding everything, and that's the last part, which is synthesis. The grading system is split into 2 main things that make up your final grade: the essay and the test. As of 2025, the discussion board participation is no longer factored in to the overall grade calculation, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. So you can focus your energy on these 2 bigger assignments instead of keeping up with weekly posts. It's a cleaner way to show what you've learned without all the extra busy work. The main essay is the big one. This is where you get to dig into the material and really show what you think about the topic. You need to analyze the concepts that were already covered in class and put your thoughts together into a very clear, written out essay based on the question that you pick. It's your chance to go deeper than just memorizing facts, and you need to show how you synthesize all the information and how to develop it further. This is how you get a distinction grade essay. The test covers all of the main learning from the course, including the key ideas, the terms, and the material that's all in throughout the 5 weeks, and it really tests you whether you understand the main core content. Once you do it right, once the essay is done, your time is really freed up to go through the concepts one more time before the test. Let's talk about the community. You meet classmates from all walks of life, all life stages, and all nationalities. I've met people who are 10 years married and they have grown kids. I don't have grown kids. I've met expatriates who live in Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, and they're moving around because of their partner's work. In the foundation year, you'll also encounter people from the applied neuroscience program, and because they have a very hard science perspective, sometimes there can be some friction when we engage with each other, but it's always valuable hearing from other people and their different perspectives. That's what makes the scientific community so vibrant and valuable. Now here's where distance learning really shines. All the lectures are recorded, so if you don't understand something, you can always just play it back at your own time. And you can rewind them when you don't understand something, you can turn on the captions, you can watch from the comfort of your perfectly set up study desk that adjusts at the touch of a button. I have this wooden table that is a standing desk, and I also have a curved 27-inch monitor that's an absolute lifesaver. And you don't have to drag yourself to 9 a.m. lectures after cramming in like 11 p.m. the night before. There's no hour-long commute to campus when you're barely awake, because I've been there, and everything's just on your own schedule. It works beautifully for some people, and especially if you don't want to relocate to London just yet, if you have loose ends to tie up, this is perfect for you. I also have a classmate who got married and went on her honeymoon while she was doing this, so there's a lot of flexibility with your time. Now, the hardest part isn't really the workload, but it's being on your own when you're wrestling with a concept and you don't have anyone immediate to turn to. The student groups and discussion forums help, but they're not really the same as, like, say, grabbing someone after class for a coffee or to hash things out together. There are pros and cons to everything, but fortunately, we're in the age of AI, and I can ask ChatGPT anything. King's is very pro AI, so they've even partnered with Copilot to create their own AI system and encourage its use for studying. And for essays, we don't use AI to generate content, obviously, but we do declare it for assistance, whether we use it to study or to format or to create images. King's provides a solid support through online office hours with lecturers scheduling these different sessions throughout the TFs, the teaching fellows, who schedule office hours throughout the week. And it's really, really important you identify who your TF is early on. Students creating their own communities through discussion boards and WhatsApp groups is also a thing. I've seen everything in these groups, like fights break out. But there's also some very brilliant ideas being shared. Some people who get like high distinction essays, distinction dean's list essays, they all get shared on these groups. And even if you're not in London, there are London study groups and regional groups for people, say like in Singapore, Hong Kong, the US, Euro, and then I don't think there's anyone from Australia or New Zealand, but I've seen like regional groups just because you're in the same time zone. But of course, it's like the bigger groups that all the students are part of. I've also connected with alumni WhatsApp groups, which led me to events like King's in Asia. And through these networks, I've met people from Oxford, UCLA, University of Manchester, and different alumni who are now, graduated 10, 20 years ago, and they're now in senior positions. And these are, really good networking opportunities and your chance to meet good people. So my advice, if you're considering this program, get comfortable with being super independent, create a dedicated study space that works for you. I threw out my old table with the uncomfortable folding legs, and I invested in a solid wood standing desk where my legs can swing freely, and I've got 2 Dyson fans and a curved monitor, which is one of my best investments for making small academic text readable. And I also have a pink leather chair from Secret Lab, which is a Singapore company who makes like these awesome gamer chairs. So my final thoughts are, if you're passionate about learning psychology and neuroscience, and willing to be disciplined about your learning, this is an incredible opportunity to study at one of the world's top universities while maintaining your current life. So that's the real talk on distance learning at KCL. If you have any specific questions of the program, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to share more about this journey.